It had been shut down for days by the Democrats. They were building television sets, and they had a big television production last night. It was quite something to see. John Legend singing and playing the piano on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. No wonder nobody could get there. And no citizens were allowed. No citizens were allowed to see the candles along the edge of the reflecting pool between the Lincoln Memorial and the World War II Memorial, between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. It was beautiful. It looked beautiful, and they had all these American flags. I wonder who thought of that, American flags. There were Democrats burning American flags yesterday in Seattle and Portland and Denver because they don't want Biden, they want revenge. That's the message from the left, wearing ski masks, attacking places, burning dumpsters and American flags, attacking the police. Tearing down society is what they're doing. And Joe Biden and the media have had nothing to say about it. 3 cities trashed last night on Inauguration Day because it turns out it was all a lie when they told us it was just about Trump. It wasn't. It's about their violent gangs of mentally unstable lunatics who commit violent criminal acts on a near daily basis in the United States of America. Political violence from the left on a daily basis. One riot from Republicans, and it's Pearl Harbor. It's 9/11 all over again. And the violence from the left continues unabated, including last night across the country in multiple cities with people hurt, people arrested, stuff burned, the American flag desecrated, police attacked, and CNN, I looked at it for 3 hours. I have the zip function. 3 hours of CNN, 3 hours of MSNBC this morning, not a peep out of them on all the Democrat violence yesterday, because that doesn't fit with the narrative that the media is pimping right now as the big fur hat wearing Lincoln Continental, fuzzy steering wheel pimps that they are. I think it's like Magnum Force reference, Dirty Harry's second movie. But never mind that. Really something to see. And there are a couple of things I want to get into today, because the coronation of Kim Jong-un yesterday on the Mall, where nobody was except they're all packed in close with one another, because that whole thing about this just show business. Most of them were wearing masks, most of them, not all of them, and not all the time. But that's okay. The media doesn't notice those. They're minor errors. The media overlooks them. It wasn't a super spreader event because it was a Democrat event, you see. And what happened to the Anwar Sadat, the coup that the military was going to kill everybody there? And that was Y2K. That was all the fertile fantasy world of the crazy left, which includes the media and Democrats on Capitol Hill. None of that, of course, was ever going to happen. Now they're going to say, well, they did. They excluded 12 people for speech crimes, and maybe they were the ones that were going to. And this is the fantasy world that they live in. It goes on and on. It never stops. It's completely insane. And we are now, not even 24 hours into the Biden presidency, and he is already calling people white supremacists in the name of unity. He's said that he's going to do away with fracking. Remember all that stuff about fracking? Now it turns out no fracking. He lied to Pennsylvania, a key swing state. And he said a different thing every day, and the media never checked because they just fluffed him. They just performed daily acts of journalistic gratification upon him, and that's their role. And boy, have they taken to their role like ducks to water. They're back to being the complacent, compliant, sycophantic media of the Obama era. They are back. And we've got their questions from the press briefing yesterday with Jenny Psaki. And she's now the press secretary at the White House, and she too is an embarrassment, really, to me as a citizen of the United States and as a participant in Western civilization. These are incredibly corrupt people, but extraordinary stuff, and they're all very relieved. Van Jones, the self-described communist, nobody asked him about that in years, said, as you watch this thing lift off and go away, imagine how it must feel for Muslim families who are worried that their kids are going to radicalize at home. Immigrant families, I think you mean illegal immigrant families. I know lots and lots of immigrants and immigrant families who are big Trump supporters. The House, the Senate, it must be lifted now that the Democrats control. By the way, today, as of yesterday, Chuck Schumer is the majority leader in the Senate. And we'll see whether they plan on packing the Supreme Court, packing the federal courts. abolishing the filibuster, turning us into a banana boat with Carmen Miranda hats. We'll see how far he goes. But he's now the majority leader because both seats were lost in Georgia in the Senate races there, and all of that. We'll get into some of that. Jen Psaki. I know it's Psaki, but what Psaki's better? I like Psaki better. It's spelled Psaki. She had pneumonia. Honestly, it's Psaki. She sets new tone in Biden's first briefing. It's, of course, she set a new tone. The press was there to give her a tongue bath from head to toe. Jen Psaki's first White House briefing heralds return to normality is another headline. These are the headlines. Yeah, the normality is now the fluffers in the press are back to being lapdogs instead of rabid attack dogs on crack. But never mind that. Speaking of crack, is Hunter Biden still under investigation by the FBI? Yes, he is. Is that anywhere in the media? No, it's not. Did Tony Bobulinski say that in the emails, big guy who gets a 10% cut from the Chinese corporations is Joe Biden? Yes, Tony B., the Naval Academy grad, CEO of the Biden Corporation, did say that on the record and on videotape. Is that in the news? No, it's not. No, interestingly, although the Biden family entered the White House under the cloud of FBI investigation, a grand jury impaneled, subpoenas, testimony, the FBI brought Tony B. in for 5 hours talking to 6 agents about all of it. And it's not a news story. It just like the Soviet Union or Iran, the story magically vanished. Isn't that just great? It's good to be a Democrat, isn't it? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's take a little walk down memory lane. What do you say, Michael? You know, here's a headline from January of 2017. President Trump was inaugurated January 20th, 2017, 4 years ago yesterday. The inaugural balls, including the deplorable, was last night, where people were violently attacked by leftists and assaulted, men and women in their 60s, going to the little sense of humor. You call us deplorables because we're pro-American, and you hate America, so you label everybody with these nasty labels. And here's a headline from the Daily Mail: protesters caught plotting to shut down inauguration. And then the deplorable was attacked. People were violently assaulted. There's another headline that they were planning acid attacks. The Democrats were planning acid attacks on Trump supporters for the inauguration. All right. At least 217 arrested on Inauguration Day. Remember, here's some audio of the violence from 4 years ago yesterday, Donald Trump's inauguration, which CNN told me just the other day was completely peaceful. 217 people arrested, limousine torched. Trump Inauguration Day protests. They weren't even called riots, they were protests. Another headline from the Daily Mail: protesters caught plotting to shut down Trump inauguration. D.C. under siege. BizPac review: Trump goes underground in bunker. Oh, that's not Inauguration Day, though. That was 3 days of attacks on the White House where dozens of Park Police were injured and dozens of U.S. Secret Service Uniform Division were injured. Police had to produce footage of all of that, and then the media still lied about it and said that they were peaceful when they were throwing bricks and glass bottles, and they had pre-positioned clubs and metal rods to attack the police and other people, and all the assaults go completely unnoticed. The president and his supporters have been attacked since Inauguration Day 4 years ago, and before, really, during the campaign. Violent attacks on Trump supporters, shut down the Chicago Trump rally because of all the violent attacks. Media blamed Trump and Trump supporters at that time, and that's why the media is, what is the word? Scum. Scum, I think is the word. So a little bit of violence. And this is Inauguration Day. All of the arrests, the arson, the smashing out of storefronts, the looting, the assaults on people. 4 years ago yesterday, the inaugural balls 4 years ago last night were attacked violently. That was from the deplorable. That was outside the deplorable at the, I think it was at the Press Club in downtown Washington, D.C. And that was considered no big deal. years ago yesterday. And I just saw on CNN the other day that they missed the peaceful inauguration of 4 years ago. That was a lie. That was a giant fraud perpetrated by Allison Camerata and CNN just a couple of days ago, because you cannot trust them for news. They used to be called the most trusted name in news. Now they're really a fatuous pustule on the buttocks of journalism. Let's go to soundbite number 21, because 4 years ago today was the Pink Pussy Hat March in Washington, D.C. It was, see, they had all booked their hotel rooms because Hillary Clinton was going to win. CNN told them Hillary was going to win. That was a lie. But they believed it. And Hollywood came to town, and Madonna and Ashley Jugs and all these lunatics. So let's go to soundbite number 21. Soundbite number 21. This is Madonna. She used to be a singer, and she was in a movie, I think, about a leather jacket. And Madonna was screaming to the crowd. And my best girl and I, we were down there. I sent some pictures to Michael Piercy and Victor yesterday, reminders of what was going on and some of the vulgarities and things going on. We can't play a lot of the audio from the Pink Pussy March 4 years ago today, one day after night. They were all in town because Hillary was going to win. So instead of celebrating the peaceful transfer of power, they attacked violently, mostly elderly people. They attacked the inaugural balls. They attacked the inaugural parade route. They attacked downtown Washington, sacking, looting, plundering, hundreds of arrests, arson, and now that's been erased from the collective memory of the United States, America, and the media. Here's Madonna at the Pink Pussy March.
Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I am outraged.
What if I said this?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Now, what if I said that today? One day after the inauguration, and that's and the media applauded. And Madonna, can I touch her? Can I rub against her parts? Ashley Jugs was an actress at one point, and she's one of the Jugs of the Jug sisters, and she was at the big Pink Pussy March.
I am a nasty woman.
They're really mental. There are a lot of mental cases.
I'm not as nasty as a man who looks like he bathes in Cheeto dust.
She's not. But wait, here's the good part, because you got to make it more vulgar all the time.
I am not as nasty as your own daughter being your favorite sex symbol.
Listen
like
to the
your
crowd.
wet dreams infused with your own genes, but yeah.
These are angry, screwed up, mentally ill people, and they are perfectly mainstream Democrats. Elizabeth Warren pretended to be a Native American for decades in order to advance her phony, corrupt career.
We persist and we march. We march in pink pussy hats. We march.
Yeah, they march in the Pink Pussy hats. She's a United States Senator. That's the U.S. government at the highest levels, the Democrat Party. That was 4 years ago today.